Hello everyone. The video that I'm going to present now is on Divine Comedy written by Dante, presented by Annlanka.X-18PEN43-COMPARATIVE, Assistant Professor of English. We begin with an introduction to Dante here. Dante was born in Florence, Italy around 1265. He grew up among Florentine aristocracy. It is assumed that he received formal instruction in grammar, language, and philosophy at one of the Franciscan schools in the city. At the age of 9, he purportedly briefly glimpsed the 8-year-old Beatrice Portinari and, struck by her beauty, fell in love with her. Dante said that when Beatrice greeted him in passing 9 years later, his love was confirmed. During his teenage years, Dante demonstrated a keen interest in literature. Therefore, he undertook an apprenticeship with Brunetto Latini, a celebrated poet and prose writer of vernacular Italian, and befriended the poet Guido Cavalcanti. As was usual during his period, his parents arranged his marriage. And accordingly, Dante wed Gemma di Manetto Donati around 1285, despite being in love with Beatrice. And the couple is known to have had at least 3 children. Beatrice, with whom Dante remained in love, died in 1290. So he was stricken with grief and committed himself to study the works of great philosophers like Aristotle, and started writing poetry in earnest. So written between 1292 and 1294 in commemoration of Beatrice's death, Vita Nuova reflects Dante's first effort to depict her as an abstract model of love and beauty. Around 1300, Dante became increasingly involved in perilous Florentine politics and aligned himself with the White Guelphs, a rival faction to the papacy. He entered the Guild of Apothecaries, affording him political opportunities normally offered only to philosophers. When the Black Guelphs, supported by papal forces, staged a coup in 1301, prominent White Guelphs, including Dante, were stripped of their possessions and banished from the city. So never to return to Florence, his beloved native place, Dante completed the Commedia and other works, including De Vulgari Eloquentia, Convivio, and De Monarchia, while in exile. Dante's most famous work, The Divine Comedy, is rich in science, astronomy, and philosophy, and being rooted in 14th century Catholicism and Italian politics. The epic describes Dante's imagined journey through hell and purgatory to heaven. Inferno, the most popular and widely studied section of the Divine Comedy, recounts Dante's travels through the different regions of hell, led by his mentor and protector, the Roman poet Virgil. Constructed as a huge funnel with 9 descending circular ledgers, Dante's Hell features a vast, meticulously organized torture chamber in which sinners, carefully classified according to the nature of their sins, suffer hideous punishment, often depicted with ghoulish attention to detail. Sinners who recognize and repudiate their sins are given the opportunity to attain paradise through the arduous process of purification, which continues in purgatory. A shift from human reason to divine revelation takes place in purgatory, a place where penitents, awaiting the final journey to paradise, continually reaffirm their faith and atone for the sins they committed on earth. A mood of brotherly love, modesty, and longing for God prevails in purgatory. In hell, Virgil helps Dante to understand sin. In purgatory, the poet needs a more powerful guide who represents faith, that is Beatrice. Finally, paradise manifests the process of spiritual regeneration and purification required to meet God, who rewards the poet with perfect knowledge. Near the end of his life, Dante settled in Ravenna, Italy, under the patronage of Guido da Polenta, where he died in September of 1321. Although the Divine Comedy caused an immediate sensation during his life, Dante's fame waned during the Italian Renaissance and was later revived in the 19th and the 20th century. So the story of Inferno begins with Dante getting lost in the woods on Maundy Thursday. So to reach paradise, he realizes that he has to climb a mountain, but is prevented by three wild beasts who threaten him: a leopard, a lion, and a she-wolf. So unable to progress in his journey, he stumbles back, wondering what to do and filled with terror. And on the way, he encounters Virgil, who has been sent by Beatrice to guide Dante in his journey through hell. Starting on Good Friday, Virgil leads Dante into hell. On the shores of the River of the Dead, Dante sees many people who are neither in heaven, hell, nor purgatory, including someone who was most probably a pope. Once in hell proper, Virgil guides Dante through the 9 circles of hell. Along the way, Dante is seen to be threatened by various demons, but Beatrice has interceded for him in heaven and his faith does not fail. He and Virgil at last escape at dawn. So here are a concise presentation of the 9 circles of hell. And now we look into a brief detail about what are to be found in the different circles of hell. So in the first circle, which is referred to as limbo, is inhabited by virtuous non-Christians and unbaptized pagans who are punished with eternity in an inferior form of heaven. They are seen to live in a castle with 7 gates, which symbolize the 7 virtues. In this circle, Dante sees many prominent people from classical antiquity such as Homer, Socrates, Aristotle, Hippocrates, Cicero, and Julius Caesar. The second circle is allotted to those who have committed the sin of lust. They are punished by being blown violently back and forth by strong winds, which prevent them from finding peace and rest. These winds symbolize the restlessness of a person who is led by the desire for fleshly pleasures. Again, Dante sees many notable people from history and mythology, including Cleopatra, Tristan, Helen of Troy, and others who were adulterous during their lifetime. He is particularly drawn by the sight of a couple who are being flung about by the winds and not being torn apart. So he calls out to them and talks to them and is introduced to them as Francesca, who fell in love with her own brother-in-law, and when found by the husband, she, as well as the brother-in-law, were murdered. So on hearing this story, Dante is filled with pity for the couple and falls down in a faint. The third circle are allotted to those who committed the sin of gluttony. So when Dante and Virgil enter the third circle of hell, they find the souls of gluttons who are supervised by a worm monster, Cerberus. Sinners in this circle of hell are punished by being forced to lie in a vile slush that is produced by never-ending icy rain. The vile slush symbolizes personal degradation of one who overindulges in food, drink, and other worldly pleasures, while the inability to see others lying nearby represents the glutton's selfishness and coldness. Here, Dante speaks to a character called Siaco, who tells him that the Guelphs will defeat and expel the Ghibellines from Florence, which happened in 1302, before the poem was even written. In the fourth circle of hell, Dante and Virgil see the souls of people who are punished for greed. They are divided into two groups, those who hoarded possessions and those who lavishly spent it jousting. They use great weights as a weapon, pushing it with their chests, which symbolizes their selfish love for fortune during their lifetime. The two groups that are guarded by a character called Pluto are so occupied with their actions that the two poets don't try to speak to them. Here, Dante says that he sees many clergymen, including cardinals and popes. The fifth circle of hell is allotted to the wrathful. Transported on a boat by Pelagius, Dante and Virgil see the furious fighting of these souls with each other on the surface of the river Styx and a sullen gurgling beneath the surface of the water. Again, the punishment reflects the type of sin committed during their lifetime. So while passing through, the poets are approached by Filippo Argenti, a prominent Florentine politician who confiscated Dante's property after his expulsion from Florence. Reaching the sixth circle of hell, Dante is informed that the heretics are condemned to eternity in flaming tombs here. He talks to a couple of Florentines, Farinata degli Uberti and Cavalcante de Cavalcanti, but he also sees other notable historical figures, including the ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus, Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II, and Pope Anastasius II. The latter, however, is, according to some modern scholars, condemned by Dante as a heretic by mistake. Instead, as some scholars argue, the poet probably meant the Byzantine Emperor Anastasius I. The seventh circle of hell is allotted to those who have committed sins of violence. So this circle is divided into three rings. The outer ring is inhabited by murderers and others who are violent to other people and their property. In this outer ring, Dante sees Alexander the Great, Dionysius I of Syracuse, Guy de Montfort, and many other notable historical and mythological figures. They are sunk into a river of boiling blood and fire. In the middle ring, the poet sees suicides, people who have been violent towards themselves, and these souls have been turned into trees and bushes, which are fed upon by the harpies. He also sees here profligates chased and torn to pieces by dogs. In the inner ring are blasphemers and sodomites residing in a desert of burning sand and burning rain falling from the sky. The eighth circle of hell is resided by the fraudulent. So they inhabit the eighth circle of hell. Dante and Virgil reach it on the back of Geryon, a flying monster with different natures, just like the fraudulent. This circle of hell is divided into 10 bolgias or stony ditches with bridges between them. In Bolgia 1, Dante sees panderers and seducers. In Bolgia 2, he finds flatterers. After crossing the bridge to Bolgia 3, he and Virgil see those who are guilty of simony. After crossing another bridge between the ditches to Bolgia 4, they find sorcerers and false prophets. In Bolgia 5 are housed corrupt politicians. In Bolgia 6 are hypocrites. And in the remaining 4 ditches, Dante finds hypocrites, thieves, evil counselors and advisors, divisive individuals, and various falsifiers such as alchemists, perjurers, and counterfeiters. The final circle of hell, that is the ninth circle, is divided into 4 rings according to the seriousness of the sin. All the residents are, however, frozen in an icy lake. Those who committed more severe sin are deeper within the ice. Each of the 4 rings is named after an individual who personifies the sin. Thus, round 1 or ring 1 is named Caina, after Cain who killed his brother Abel. Ring 2 is named Antenora, after Antenor of Troy, who was Priam's counselor during the Trojan War. Ring 3 is named Ptolemea, after Ptolemy, while ring 4 is named Judaea, after Judas Iscariot the apostle who betrayed Jesus with a kiss. The circles are concentric, representing a gradual increase in wickedness and culminating at the center of the earth where Satan is held in bondage. The sinners of each circle are punished for eternity in a fashion befitting their crimes. So each punishment is a symbolic instance of poetic justice. So here's a picture of how Dante has portrayed hell in the shape of a funnel. So the sinners of much violent sins are to be found in the deeper parts of hell. We come to the end of my presentation, and in this slide I have cited a few sites that I have referred to, sites which helped me in preparing my presentations. I am thankful to all the resources available online. And I also thank you for your patience in listening to my presentation. I hope you find this useful. Bye everyone.